Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Matt Bernier. The DRFBets race of the day for Saturday, February the 2nd, a key Kentucky Derby points race. It's race number 11 at Gulfstream Park. We're going 1 mile and a 16th, and it's the prestigious Grade 2 Holy Bull Stakes. You can bet this nice Gulfstream card with a new DRFBets account. Sign up is easy at bets.drf.com, and once you're in, you deposit $50, you can bet with $200. Let's meet the field for the Grade 2 Holy Bull. You can access free formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at drf.com. Download them and handicap along with us. We'll take the field in post position order, beginning with the number 1, Garter and Tie, on the board in 6 of 7 lifetime starts. Really nice inside post position here with a short run to the first turn, Matt. Still a little worried how good he is overall, but a good trip is probably coming.
You know, I have to be honest with you. I don't necessarily question his ability. I question more how far does he really want to go. I think he's going to be a nice one-turn horse. Thought he ran just fine in that Mucho Macho Man. No real excuse for the reason that he was behind those top two. I know he was in behind horses for a bit there, but he finally got out and came with his bid. Just not good enough. I maintain, I think he's going to be better going 7/8 or a one-turn mile. Maybe down the road he's a Pat Day mile type, but right now I don't know that I love him at 1 mile and a 16th.
Number 2 is Keeneland grad Federal Case, who won his career debut during the Keeneland Fall Meet, going the about 7 furlongs on the Beard course. Then he went through the public auction ring and sold for $650,000. That is a lot of money for a gemologist colt. He's now with Todd Pletcher, and he just had a nice prep race for this. It was really easy, I thought. There were only 3 other horses in the race. This horse acts like he wanted distance. The pace horse was getting away from him a little bit on the turn. He was able to really wind that horse down in the final 16th of a mile. Another good inside post, but he's probably going to have to deal with a much faster pace scenario as he tries 2 turns for the first time.
I like this horse. I thought that run was good, and like you say, I suppose you can say it's easy because there was only 4 horses signed on, but look, that horse that was setting the pace wasn't stopping, I didn't think, and I thought Federal Case went and got him in the shadow of the wire. That to me shows that, you know what, this horse has got a little bit of something. I have a sneaky feeling if it's not Saturday, maybe this is going to be a little bit too much too soon. I still think, Pletcher's yet to really roll out the major Derby contender for him for the 3-year-olds. I have a feeling we're going to hear more from this horse going forward, whether it ends up being the Florida Derby or the Tampa Bay Derby or somewhere like that, or even Arkansas. I think this horse is okay. 3
is Epic Dreamer. This horse won 2 starts back at Belmont. I think he took advantage of a really inside speed favoring track that day when he went gate to wire. But that being said, I don't really think he had the cleanest run last time out in the Springboard Mile, trying to weave his way through in between horses as the beaten favorite. And the winner of that race, Long Range Toddy, may not be a star, but he's rock solid. He came back to run a good second in the Smarty Jones with an 83 buyer. Irad Ortiz takes them out.
Yeah, I was going to say that Springboard Mile, that was not an easy trip for him. Like you say, in and amongst horses. And the fact that really coming off of that maiden score in gate to wire fashion where he had the track in his favor, I'm not going to really hold the springboard against him. At the same time, I don't know that he's necessarily this good or good enough to run with the best in this race. I think he's talented. I think there are spots for him. I just don't think this is it.
He was able to finish ahead of one of the choices in this race, the likely second choice, Mijos, in his career debut going 6. Ever Fast is the number 4, and Ever Fast is hard to recommend based on his recent running lines. Just well beaten and a non-winners of 1 other than. This is just a giant step up in class. Dale Roman's taking a shot.
Taking a shot, maybe you can hit the board here and get a couple of those little points here and there, but at the same time, his best race in the Iroquois from a figure standpoint is 70. That doesn't put him remotely close.
2.5 months off as Harvey Wallbanger makes his 3-year-old debut. This horse graduated last time out, going this distance at Churchill Downs, only a 64 buyer speed figure, but one of the horses he beat, the 5th place finisher, came back to run second with a 72 buyer, and then graduated at the Fairgrounds with a 78 against Maiden Special Way Company. It's interesting that he ran a fast race 3 starts back and hasn't gotten back to that number just yet.
Yeah, I mean, his first 2 starts, he earned an 81 and a 79, and then the 2 subsequent starts just kind of fell off the cliff. I don't know where he is. His running style, I don't think, is conducive to a race like this. He's going to be coming from way out of it, off of a long layoff, and at the end of the day, I don't know how good he is. He's a pass.
First time 2 turns for Mijos, the likely second choice in this race. Thought he did some good work last time out in the Mucho Macho Man Stakes. He basically had a 5-wide trip all the way around the track, lost a lot of ground turning into the stretch, and then he came and got Trophy Chaser, a horse that might have found the mile a little bit too far for him. But let's not take anything away from Mijos. He went and got that horse despite giving up a lot of ground. Now he's going to have to try 2 turns for the first time. But if you give this horse some pace, he can come with a good run. He's solid.
The difficult thing for me, I like this horse a lot. I think there's plenty of ability here. He's a grinder. He is not a flashy horse by any stretch. He's a little bit late with his mechanics, with his lead change when he finally hits the stretch, but he wants to go and beat you. I just have a nagging feeling in the back of my head that 2 turns, I don't know that this is what he's going to end up being. Saturday's going to go a long way for me to determine what I think of him as far as a Derby contender is concerned. If that doesn't ultimately work out, for me, for some reason, the Alan Jerkins up at Saratoga just keeps coming to my mind that at 7/8, I think this is ultimately what that horse will end up being.
Come On Jerry already has a victory this Gulfstream meet over course and distance. That occurred in gate-to-wire fashion in a maiden special weight. Now, it's very unlikely that he's going to make the lead in this spot, but Dale Romans has done good work with these horses in the past, as we see from our formulator fact. Over the past 4 years with 3-year-old last out maiden winners in dirt routes off a very small layup, 38% winners, a 552 ROI. I think this horse has some ability. I am worried that it might be a little bit too much too soon.
I'm also unsure ultimately what surface is going to be his bread and butter because, look, I know he broke his maiden nicely in that most recent run. I thought Alvarado rode him very well, breaking from the outside and just sending and making sure they made the front. But you look at the bottom half, he's a half to Fundamental, who was a graded stakes place turf router, a half to Inflexibility, who was a stakes winner, multiple graded stakes turf place router. And you look at the elusive quality piece there, it's a decent sort of turf influence, about 12.5%, almost 13% with the turf runners. And he's an Ontario bred. I have a feeling if this Derby thing doesn't eventually work out, they're going to have to shift their attention toward a race like the Queen's Plate and find out if he can step on synth.
The horse they're all going to have to beat, however, is the number 8 Maximus Mischief. I mean, listen, this horse is an omnifig. He's run 3 races. Buyer speed figures 94, 98, 97. The rest of this field, the best buyer speed figure out of all of them was Mijos' 90 in the Mucho Macho Man. If you simply go by speed figures, Maximus Mischief looks unbeatable. Although in that Grade 2 Remsen, while he did beat a couple of next out winners, he had an easy trip on the lead, and there are other speeds in here.
Yeah, he's going to need to show a new dimension in this race, and really that's kind of the key for this horse. If you like him or you don't like him, if you're trying to build that case against him, he's been out there on relatively soft paces throughout in all 3 of his lifetime starts. If you're for him and just saying he's the best horse, it's simply from a figure standpoint. He just lays over this field. I still think he's a little bit green, still figuring some things out. To me, the talent is abundant and it's obvious. I don't know ultimately down the road how far he wants. I don't know what his game's going to be. To me, he is strictly the horse to beat.
Blistering workouts at Gulfstream Park leading up to this race allays any sort of surface concerns. How would you ride him? You've got 2 speeds directly to the outside. This horse has basically been on or near the lead in every single one of his starts. Does Jose just put the pedal to the metal and not try to fool around?
No, to be honest with you, I would look at it the complete opposite way and say, you know what? I get it. He's unbeaten. Everyone wants to continue and make sure all that goes on. In the grand scheme of things, it's going to be a hell of a lot more important to find out if this horse can or can't sit off of a target and commence a bid, because more likely than not, you're not going to be on the lead in a race like the Florida Derby or the Kentucky Derby. To me, if the connections play it the way that I think that they should, this is going to be a little bit more of a proving test, a little bit of an educational race where let the outside 2 speeds go. If Come On Jerry wants to go, anybody else to the inside, let them go and find out if you can sit off of a horse and come with a bid. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but you got to find out first and foremost. And the last thing you want to do is find out before you get too late, I don't think.
Timeform US agrees with your assessment. They think that Maximus Mischief will be parked just off the leaders being the outside horses, the 9 Gladiator King, the 10 Going for Gold. Let's be honest. Gladiator King shouldn't have run in the Pasco last time out. He broke through the gate. He ran off for about, 3/16 of a mile before being corralled, put back in the gate. We won't hold it against him that he showed brief speed against a pretty good field. That being said, this is a very tough ask for a horse that might be a nice little sprinter. I think he's listed stakes quality, but putting him on the lead against this kind of field with a fast-paced situation might be asking way too much.
I mean, embarrassing that he even ran in that Pasco. He should have been scratched immediately. Neither here nor there. More importantly for this race, boy, he's got so many things going against him. Other speeds, distance questions, quality questions. I don't like him.
Going for Gold on the far outside stretches out after showing big sprint speed at Laurel in 2 races. Blinkers on, you got to figure is only going to enhance that speed coming out of the gate. And with the short run to the first turn, Albin Jimenez only has one way to go, and that's pretty much to send this horse. Forget about Gladiator King. Hope that one drops out and inherit the lead. This horse has blown big leads in both starts, but maybe the blinkers will give him a little bit of focus. I am concerned, though, this maiden really stretching out with a fast pace and Maximus Mischief breathing down his neck.
Well, and like you say, if you're giving up those big leads at 6 and 5.5 furlongs, now you got to stretch out to a mile and a 16th. You're getting blinkers on, other speed breaking from that far outside. To me, I see the Atreides. I don't know how far he wants to go, but you do have one way to go, and that's just to drop the pedal and go. I don't think it works.
Let's take a look at our top pick for the Grade 2 Holy Bull Stakes. You like Maximus Mischief? Listen, he's the fastest horse in the race. If he works out any kind of trip, he is going to be really tough. You got to use him in any kind of multi.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I don't know how much deeper I would go. I know that may sound a little bit silly. And again, keep an eye on the weather forecast. There's a chance of rain in South Florida on Saturday as well. But if he is able to sit and show that sort of tactical ability, then all of a sudden you're not just looking at a prime contender for the Derby. You might be looking at the horse to beat for the Kentucky Derby way in advance. The other horse that I'm most interested in, Mijos, I like him, but I do wonder about how far he wants to go. I'm very intrigued with Federal Case. I want to see ultimately what he does with this little bit of an acid test.
Federal Case will be my tepid top choice. Will be obviously a better price than Maximus Mischief. I think this pace could get crowded up front. I like that Federal Case is drawn near the inside, and if he breaks well, he didn't break that great last time out, but quickly recovered in that one-turn mile. If he breaks well, he can sort of tuck in while saving valuable ground, and I do think by his action and by his pedigree that he's the kind of horse that's really going to want to go long. And it's also Todd Pletcher at Gulfstream Park. I'll go 2, 8, and 6, but Maximus Mischief, way the horse to beat in the Holy Bull. It's a race that you can play with a DRFBets account, and it's a pretty good deal when you sign up. Deposit 50, bet with 200 at bets.drf.com. An approximate post time for the Holy Bull, 5:13 Eastern. Best of luck.